Welcome back to the Artist Access. Look, man, I'm here with a phenomenal artist. I've been trying to get this young lady to sit down with me for a while. You hear me? Look, when I was doing radio, I was trying to get her to come sit down with me, right? So I finally got her in here, and I'm glad I got her now, cause now they can see us now. You feel me? You know what I'm talking about?
Cheers.
So I have the one, the only, the Wordmatician is with us. How are you doing?
My gratitude abounds.
Huh? My gratitude. You know what I'm talking about? So look, I moved here about 6 years ago, right? And I jumped into this entertainment world doing poetry as soon as I got out here, and I saw you early on, right? And I'm like, man, this lady is, what planet is she from? I'm telling you, like, man, look.
Thank you.
I asked you earlier when you came to the building, I'm like, do you ever write? You said you do write though, but you don't, when you're on stage, you just off the top with it. Is it always like that?
When I'm on the mic.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
When I started going to open mics in Houston, I got tired of knowing when someone missed a line. Over time, I learned that, a lot of artists and performers would practice at open mics and practice at different shows. So they didn't see it as inundating us with the same verses. But it wasn't the same energy after a certain amount of times you've heard it. And so I was like, well, I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to give you something new. That way you'll keep coming.
Right.
So.
Okay.
That's why.
And is that where the name come from?
The name came from God, actually. My first moniker was Lyric with a K. And I was getting through certain levels of experiences. And once I hit a stage of grief that hadn't been met, I told God, I didn't want to die with my gifts. I didn't want to wake up at a certain point without purpose. And I'm like, everybody got these names and everybody naming them, but nobody knows what to call me. They couldn't really articulate what it was I was doing, but they could feel it. And so I prayed about it and asked for what to call myself, and he gave me the Wordmatician.
The Wordmatician. And it was crazy about that name. When I see it, I be seeing the word magician. So I be having hold on, it's not magician, it's magician. But I see the magician, and to me, you be doing magic up there to me. You hear me? Because you would get up there and you be like, you ask people to give you some words, and from there you just boom. Yeah. Are you gonna do something like that tonight?
I'll do whatever you ask. I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it.
So look, take me back to the beginning of your whole point when you found that you had this gift in you, with these words and whatnot.
Well, like the Queen Bee, I was published at 5.
What?
And so just being, I think, exposed to what would happen when someone would give you a tool, like a pen and some crayons, because I illustrated my own book too. But it wasn't necessarily until I got to a space where I was being told to write, and it felt forced and inauthentic. So instead of writing essays and book reports in middle school and high school, I was writing poems. Even in college, TSU. I was very defiant when it came to having to read certain books that, as a biracial woman, I was being denied buying. And so learning from firsthand experience what the psychological enslavement of ignorance looks like, I just wanted to use my voice and show people how to do something different. And once I realized that spoken word was a manifestation, I had to be very responsible about what I did with my tongue. And so it became a place of finding how strong my faith is and the consistency of me being in submission with the Most High so I can be obedient at all times and use my gifts to make room for me in the sense of my walking in spaces and realizing how I can connect everybody just with a few words.
I'm laughing because you doing what she was doing. I'm talking about...
That's what we do.
That sounds like a goddamn poem. You hear me?
It's a God-bless poem.
That shit just be flowing, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. You hear me?
Thank you.
So besides the poetry, like, what else do you have tapped into this gift that you have? Like, do you have any books too?
Yeah, actually, I got 3.
Wow.
I worked for 2 big companies in the last 10 years. Before that, the semester before I would have graduated with a finance degree, I was attacked by a police officer. Ended up having surgery on my spine and too afraid to go back to school. And so for years, I just lived off a very low, consistent income that was fixed. And when it got time where my best friend was getting to a point of a very difficult experience, she started tapping my shoulder, telling me, you know, keep writing, you know, keep doing this, keep doing that. My first time hearing Miriam Radler was in 2009 in Mangoes. It's now called Corny Vibes. And Stacey and I were sitting there just blown away by this woman's songbird, you know, abilities. And when she passed away, when Stacey passed away, after Memorial Herman just did her dirty because she had a gold card, which is insufficient even today. An artist from TSU named Biko invited me to this show where the following year, here I am sitting here with Miriam Radler and her brother Noah. And I was just so floored because, you know, I've never stepped away from TSU's Poetry and Politics with Mama Neff and Secret Word. That was my niche. I stayed in, you know, every day of the week. But when Biko invited me outside and I experienced different types of artists, I was just like, yo, this is a thing. And so I asked God not to wake me up at the end of the night if I didn't have a purpose. And that's when Stacey visited me and gave me all these things to do. And she's just telling me how I can connect all these factors. And I took my creativity and my logic and merged it to a space of service. And so I'm a woman of service and creativity. I serve and create in everything I do. My life is extemporaneous, though. Like, the whole set is the production. And just being able to articulate healing is a privilege. But then to be in spaces like this where I'm healed by the ones who have returned home to the mic and put themselves in these positions, even with you, you know, like, you are the epitome of what happens when someone decides to be well. And I know what happens when we are silenced. And so in 2017, Harvey wiped out all my writing. And that was tragic. And I was so taken aback when I saw my apartment underwater. I left my cell phone that had all my recordings and all my notes. Somebody got it out the basket and never brought it back. And so in 2018, I stummed up some support from friends and loved ones who helped me get to the studio. And I went to the Barron Collective and Oracle Studios and dropped about 100 tracks in 6 hours, much of which were freestyles. But the things I had been writing over time that I had access to, I did, you know, put them in. And in 2019, after receiving the humanitarian award from one company I worked for a long time, I came back to Houston to recruit some volunteers for one of the nation's largest cities' pride parades, and my coworkers were really fond of that. And so I began to be discriminated against and completely ostracized for my experience, which was completely heartbreaking. But, like, the poetic part is it was the day after I got off the stage. And I got off the stage because I didn't want to continue investing in pain to get on stage, and I wasn't getting a return on it because nobody was in the room to receive the healing of it, right? And so here came Empty Me, Overcrowded Loneliness, and Unedited Prose. So those are my 3 babies, and if you find it, good for you. Shout out to all those who helped that be possible. But publishing those books put me in a position to just release and let go so I could stay in that ebb and flow of openness. And then I attribute my continuation of being open to Pastor Juanita. I was interviewing her parents entering their 60th year of marriage a few years ago when I was on radio. And she came in there to give them a hug and was just like, I got a message for y'all. You know, just like a music conductor, they have the longest lifespan because they're always opening themselves to, you know, breathe. And when you open yourself to breathe, you expand your capacity. And so since then, I have, you know, turned it into I'm open to receive and give love, trust, respect, and forgiveness. And I welcome nothing but that. And so as a creative, I'm creative. But as an appreciator or an aesthete of art, I love every bit of creativity and those that do something with their gifts.
Man, that's awesome. That's why I did this show. Cause
I'm glad you did.
I mean, I believe we all have something that's within us.
Yes.
That we're here not to keep to ourselves. We're here to share it. You feel me? And in that sharing, we help others unlock what they have to share, right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, you guys are all awesome. You feel
so
me?
Beautiful.
I'm trying to tell you.
So
look.
beautiful.
So look, I mean, we getting down to the last minutes of this hour. So before we go, I want to give you enough time to give us some of your art, your heart.
Yes.
You feel me?
Okay.
So we're gonna take us a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna have the Wordmatician bless us with her beautiful words.
Y'all gonna contribute a word for me?
We're gonna do all of that.
Okay.
We're gonna do that.